The alien queen said, "I'll never see my daughter again," but the human soldier kept his promise. The battle over Seriphus 9 was supposed to be unwinnable. For both sides, the war had cost too much. Smoke and fire hung in the skies, and down below, shattered cities glowed faintly in the dusk. Humans and the alien Theraians had fought for years, long enough to forget the reasons and remember only the losses. Among the ruins, human soldier Marcus Vane stood with a promise burning in his heart. A promise to a queen, a promise to a mother, and it all started 6 months earlier. 6 months ago, the fall of the Crystal Citadel. The mission had been simple: infiltrate the enemy palace, capture or neutralize the Theraian leadership, end the war. It had become anything but. The palace was a crystalline fortress of sound and color, shivering with power and guarded by warriors with skin like starlight. Most of Marcus's team didn't make it past the gates. He made it farther than he should have, wounded, dragging himself through glowing corridors, weapon ready. That's when he found her, Queen Elanthia, sovereign of the Theraians. She was not what he expected. Tall, regal, but fragile. Her left arm was burned, her shimmering dress torn, her crown cracked. She didn't try to run. Instead, she looked at him and whispered, "Please, save her." Marcus blinked. "What?" "My daughter, she was taken in the last raid. A slave ship. She's just a child." He hesitated, still aiming at her. "Why are you telling me this?" "Because I don't care what side you're on. If you have a soul, you'll find her." Marcus should have pulled the trigger. Instead, he said, "Where?" She collapsed, whispering coordinates before losing consciousness. Marcus didn't kill her. He called in a med drone. Then he took her daughter's location and vanished before reinforcements could arrive. Now, the frozen waste of Joruin. The coordinates had led him to Joruin, a mining colony where illegal slavers traffic alien prisoners far from either government's reach. He spent weeks there. He fought off raiders. He traded half his gear for information. He posed as a mercenary. And finally, in a dark pit beneath the ice fields, he found her, a young Therai girl, no older than 8 in human years. Thin, bruised, shivering. Her name was Arya. She didn't trust him at first. Why should she? Every adult in her short life had brought her pain. But Marcus didn't raise his voice. He didn't touch her. He just sat outside her cell and talked. He told her about stars, about Earth, about the birds on his grandmother's farm. And when he opened the door, she ran into his arms. They escaped that night under a blizzard sky. The journey back, they couldn't go through military routes. Too dangerous. Instead, Marcus took smugglers' paths, old mining tunnels, and forgotten cargo lanes. The girl didn't speak much, but she held his hand tightly every time they moved. He taught her to smile again. He fixed her wounds, told her bedtime stories, let her braid his hair with alien shells she found on the shore. And every night when she asked, "Will I see her again?" he would answer without hesitation, "I promise." He had made a vow, not to a queen, but to a mother whose eyes had held nothing but sorrow. And slowly, day by day, Arya began to believe him, returned to the capital. By the time they reached the Therai capital, the war had shifted. A ceasefire was being discussed. And Queen Elanthia, thought dead, had survived and was recovering in the Silver Towers. But she had not smiled in 6 months. Her people said she mourned in silence, that her heart had frozen with the news of her daughter's disappearance. So when Marcus walked into the outer city with a young Therai girl holding his hand, the guards didn't know whether to arrest or embrace him. Word spread like fire. And when Queen Elanthia stepped into the courtyard, eyes hollow from grief, her legs nearly gave out, because standing before her was her daughter, alive, smiling, calling out to her, "Mother." The queen dropped to her knees, sobbing as she caught Arya in her arms. She clutched the girl like she would vanish if she let go. Arya wept too, speaking in quick, tearful bursts of their journey. And when the queen looked up, her gaze found Marcus. He stood silently, face covered in grime, uniform torn, a soldier of the enemy. But her eyes softened. Slowly, she rose, holding her daughter's hand, and approached him. The courtyard had fallen silent. "I told you," she said, voice trembling, "I would never see her again." Marcus nodded once. "But I made a promise." She stared at him. Why risk everything for us? He looked down at Arya, who was still clinging to her mother, then back at the queen. "Because war destroys everything. But this, He nodded to the girl. This is what's worth saving. A different ending. They didn't put him in chains. They didn't send him back. Instead, he was offered sanctuary by royal decree. And Marcus remained in the city, not as a soldier, but as a guardian. Arya refused to let him leave. She called him her shield star. Peace came, slow but sure. And in the center of it all was a soldier who kept his word, and the alien queen who had dared to hope. One night, weeks later, Queen Elanthias stood on a high balcony, her daughter asleep in her arms. Marcus stood beside her, silent. She dreams again, the queen said. She sings. She was never supposed to survive that place. She's stronger than she looks, Marcus said. So are you. He gave her a small smile. I never thanked you properly, she added. You don't need to. I want to. She turned to him fully. You reminded me, she said, what mercy looks like, what trust can do. One promise changed 2 lives. He looked at her. 3, he said softly. They stood in silence then. Man and queen, soldier and mother, 2 from different worlds connected by one vow kept under fire. Because even in the darkest corners of war, a promise kept can become the light that saves everything.